My name is Flores, and I'm a board member of the Trust Fund and the executive director of Casa Norte. It has been my privilege and honor to serve on the board as we partner with landlords, property managers, tenants, and social service nonprofit organizations across this city to ensure that we are fulfilling on our mission. As you previously heard, last year in 2011, we assisted almost 3,000 households with trust fund rental subsidies. Almost a quarter of these, or 1,000 of these units, serve our special initiatives. These 7 special initiatives have been developed in partnership with 15 local nonprofit social service providers. The program enables providers to obtain affordable housing for their clients who are either currently homeless or facing a high risk of homelessness. The social service providers target the following populations: people living in shelters, living on the streets, single working mothers, families living in unstable housing, people living with HIV/AIDS, women leaving the sex trade business, and veterans. Our partner nonprofit service providers offer a wide range of services, including counseling, referral, outreach, advocacy, case management, as well as other supportive services in areas related to health and employment training. The service providers use the trust fund subsidy to better leverage service provision efforts to improve impacts on client housing stability and autonomy. In the words of one of our tenants, "I was homeless, and the subsidy helped me out because I'm not on the streets and I am really safe where I am now." Given the persistent rental affordability gap in Chicago, the Trust Fund initiatives provides crucial housing security for vulnerable people who are homeless or at very high risk of homelessness. As another one of our tenants stated, "I was evicted and on my way to the streets. Now I am paying my bills, my name is on this lease, and it's mine." The Trust Fund mission is making a vital impact and indeed investing in our city's most vulnerable and valuable assets, children and families. Here's one of their stories. Isabella fled a violent relationship and ended up living in a shelter with her 3 children. Although the shelter system provided her family with physical safety, she didn't have the resources to move out and live independently. Her family moved to shelter for over 1 year. Isabella became engaged with one of our trust fund social service providers, which placed her into an apartment through a temporary rental subsidy combined with supportive services. Through the provider, Isabella was able to receive critical services such as psychotherapy to help her recover from the trauma she had experienced and support her children with the disruption in their lives. With assistance from the social service provider, Isabella and her landlord applied for a permanent rental subsidy through the trust fund. This subsidy has allowed Isabella and her family to remain stably housed in a safe apartment near supportive relatives. It has also allowed her children to continue to attend the same school and avoid disruption in their education. Ongoing housing stability has allowed Isabella to work on her goals, such as learning English, becoming employed, and to give back by volunteering at the very same shelters where she stayed and telling other women her story of survival and resilience. It has allowed her to build a new life for herself and her children, free from violence and abuse, thereby saving the next generation who represent Chicago's future. I can stand here today and to tell you Isabella has been stably housed for the past 18 months on the south side in the Little Village community. The landlord of Isabella's unit is named Miguel, who, when initially approached about the trust fund application, said that he didn't need to rent to someone with a subsidy, but that he chose to because he really liked what we were doing, the mission of engaging and investing in families. Miguel is very happy with Isabella as a tenant and reports that she's a good neighbor. Similar to Isabella is Ana, a single mother of 4 who is living with cancer and fighting for her life. Living on a fixed income, she was unable to afford housing for her family. Through one of the trust fund social service provider partners, Ana was placed into an apartment with a trust fund subsidy, which provided with her the stability to focus on her health and healing. Through the provider, Ana has received assistance in planning for her medical care, assistance with food, clothing, and therapy services to help her and her children cope with her illness. I can report to you today that Anna has been stably housed for 2 years on the west side in the Humboldt Park community. Isabella and Anna are just 2 stories that represent the thousands of lives that the Trust Fund has positively impacted. Thank you again for coming to the 2012 annual meeting. We appreciate your time, energy, and investment in making our home, Chicago, the greatest city.